ashore with devastating results. Debris was swept away too as water flooded through fields and rural parts of North Japan. Search and rescue teams are being mobilized with offers of help already flooding in from around the world. Boats were sent crashing under a bridge and cars were swept away too across northeast Japan. Other countries across the Pacific are also alerted, including the west coast of the U.S., California, Oregon, and as far away as Alaska. And on land, too, dramatic evidence of the sheer force of nature. Massive cracks are opened up, whole streets are left in pieces, houses collapse into giant holes in the earth. An oil refinery and a steel plant were among buildings that were set on fire. Japan's network of nuclear power stations are declared safe so far. The 8.9 magnitude earthquake also shook the Japanese parliament. Prime Minister Nato Kan said his sympathies to the bereaved and said help is on the way to devastated communities. It's just over 5 hours since one of the biggest earthquakes ever recorded struck Japan. Tsunami waves have crashed ashore on Japan's main Honshu island. They're also rippling across the Pacific Ocean, endangering dozens of countries. 6 hours after the earthquake, the tsunami waves were expected to hit Papua Guinea and approach Alaska. After 9 hours, northern Australia and the west coast of Canada were expected to feel the effects as well. After 12 hours, waves were due to hit southern California and New Zealand, which has now given the all clear. And after 18 to 21 hours, thousands of kilometers away on the west coast of South America, the tsunami effects are expected to be felt. In all, 53 countries have been alerted. Now, as shockwaves from the earthquake in Japan hit the Pacific Rim, we'll bring you the latest from our correspondents on the ground. Step Vassen is in Jakarta, where the tsunami is expected to make landfall in a few hours. Bring us up to date with the situation there. We know that 3 areas in the eastern part of Indonesia also were given the alert.
Yeah, exactly. There's 3 large islands that have given the alert. It's Papua, Maluku, and North Sulawesi, where the authorities are expecting to any moment now the tsunami to arrive. We're talking about a small tsunami expected to be around 50 centimeters to 1 meter high. Basically, in the last hour, a lot of things have happened. Lots of people have actually moved away from the beaches, as we can hear from these areas. They have gone to higher grounds, have gone into the hills. Shops at the beach are closed. Not everyone has left, though. There's no forced evacuation in Indonesia in place. The authorities have not ordered a thing like that. So people are actually voluntarily asked to leave. The police has gone there with loudspeakers on cars, have warned people to go away from the beaches because this tsunami, this small tsunami, can happen anytime soon. As we speak now, the tsunami hasn't happened right now.
When do seismologists, when do the experts expect it to make landfall?
Well, they took a quite large march between sort of now and in the next hour. So it's very hard to predict exactly when the wave will arrive from Japan, basically. But they expect it to arrive within now and the next hour. As we speak, people are watching the sea. It's still normal, but it's very, very quiet at the beaches.
Step, for now, thanks very much. Step Vassen in Jakarta. Let's speak to our correspondent in Manila. Marga Ortigas is there. Marga, the country's been issued with a tsunami warning as well, the eastern part of the country. What's the situation like there?
Indeed, in fact, the window that the officials actually given to the public here, saying that it was within that window that a possible tsunami might hit, has actually already passed. However, officials saying to give it another few hours before they can officially lower the tsunami alert level back to normal before residents return to coastal areas. They were expecting any tsunami to make landfall in the Philippines over the last 2 hours. That so has not happened. Still, residents in the affected areas, or rather where the tsunami alert has been put over, have been asked to still remain in the evacuation centers that have been delineated for them to stay at. And officials are saying just wait a few more hours before the all clear is given. So they're hoping here that really in the next few hours things can go back to normal.
How well prepared are the authorities for all this?
Well, they're saying really that this is as well prepared as they can possibly be. Now, the areas that are possibly going to be affected by this tsunami are really quite prone to natural calamities. It is in the path of any typhoon that enters the country or any tropical cyclone. So the residents in these areas quite used to having to flee from natural disasters or indeed cope and recover from them. So the minute that the tsunami alert was issued, they did heed that. Many of these areas are well connected now, at least to the local government units. The national government got in touch with them, sent the police and the military as well to assist, and were able to clear most of these areas already. So they're hoping to be able to tell the villagers they can return to these areas, like we said earlier, in the next few hours. Now they're hoping that the worst, or the possibility of the worst, is behind them.
Marga Ortigas in Manila. Thanks very much, Marga. Let's speak now to Jeff Shepard. He is the Coordinator for Humanitarian and Emergency Affairs for the Asia-Pacific region for the NGO World Vision International. He is in Singapore. Give us a sense of the extent of the damage your teams on the ground have been able to assess.
At this stage, for us, it's been working with our office in Japan. And there's been, as you can imagine, there's been quite a lot of chaos in Japan, just checking to make sure that we have all our staff before we can even get them to look at what needs to be done on the ground. We'll have further information from that team on the ground tomorrow when the needs and the situation becomes much clearer, and where we can work with government and other agencies on the ground. So our work is really just preparing for what lies ahead in the days ahead in Japan. For us, it's also been working with our countries in Indonesia, the Philippines, PNG and the Solomon Islands, where we have operations, ensuring that the coastal communities and staff that we have working on the coast have been alerted to the tsunami. We've also had a global rapid response team on standby, a regional rapid response team on standby in case there's need for a response to the tsunami warning that's been in the Asia Pacific.
What kind of relief have you been able so far to provide to the Japanese, given the extent of the damage we've seen, and we continue to look at pictures that show the scale of the strength of this earthquake?
In Japan, our staff are all based in Tokyo, so there's some distance from where the actual earthquake and tsunami has hit. So it'll be tomorrow before we can ascertain what the needs are and how we can support the response in that country.
And you mentioned rapid response teams being dispatched. Some of the areas that you expect will also bear the brunt of the tidal waves that are expected to make landfall in the next few hours. Tell us more about what kind of rapid response operations you're able to put together.
Well, we have a global rapid response team of 30 people, and there's at least 10 of those that are on standby at the moment. We also have a regional team of 27 people, and they've also been put on alert as well in case we need to respond to if the tsunami hits those countries that we've mentioned.
Jeff Shepard, thank you very much. Let's go back now to Step Vassen with some new information. Step.
Yeah, what we just heard from the authorities is that they are now expecting the tsunami to reach Papua in around 30 minutes from now. But they say since the tsunami hit Guam earlier and it was only 80 centimeters high, they expect the tsunami in Papua to be less higher than that. So it's even less than 80 centimeters. So it's a very small tsunami. They say it's going to expect to arrive in half an hour from now.
What are they able to do in the meantime to make sure that they minimize the damage that this might cause?
Well, in the last hour they have really worked very hard to make sure that all the people are being evacuated from the beaches in Jayapura, the capital of Papua, where quite a lot of people have shops and live around the beach. They now have gone to higher ground. The police has gone around with sirens actually warning everyone. The military has helped to warn these people to go away. Lots of people actually already heard it on television and decided to move away themselves. So there hasn't been any forced evacuation, but it seems that most of the people now are in safety. Only a few are still behind.
Step Vassen, thank you very much. Just reminding our viewers of what Step has just informed us. The Indonesian government saying that a tsunami will reach Papua in the next 30 minutes, in about 30 minutes from now. While the worst affected areas were spread across northeastern Japan, the region is relatively sparsely populated compared to other parts of the country. Sendai, a city of 1 million, was hit. Kamaichi, a town of 40,000, is also badly affected. Hachinoi, in far northeastern Japan, a city of 250,000, has also been struck. Lawrence Lee has the latest.
People near the coast should evacuate immediately to higher ground if they are.
That warning was extremely good advice.
Prefecture, northeastern Japan, an intense